Yoga has us drawing in so we can expand out more fully. So often we think of yoga as that expansion only, stretching only, but it also requires some contraction. You draw in to expand out. We'll be working on those actions, especially with the legs and hips. We'll begin by coming to the mat in a standing position. In the practice, if you've got a washcloth, that'd be good. A towel will be fine too. We'll be pulsing in and out of poses. And even though we are repeating the movements, each movement should be thought of as a real commitment to the action, right? The mind kind of dulls when we repeat the same practice every day. And in the same way, in these movements, if you repeat the movement several times, sometimes you're not so focused in your action. Often people will tell me, I can't even touch my toes. So yoga really isn't for me. But yoga is, of course, about strengthening and lengthening. We'll be working on strength, especially the back side of the legs and the hips. As we begin in the front of the mat, stand tall. Inhale, take your arms up, keep your arms up. As you step your right leg back, create stability in your stance before getting a slight movement. And again, we'll repeat these actions a few times. It's not a bounce, you're just controlling your actions by pulsing up and down. Release your hands down and step your back foot forward. Pause. Draw your breath in and expand and reach your arms up. Take your left leg back. Again, find a steadiness first. You might want to adjust yourself so that you feel very stable before creating a little bit of movement. Yoga requires us to be in action, but we want to be in action with great focus. As you pulse in and out of the pose, just to start to warm up the legs and create a little bit more fluidity in the pelvic area. Step your back foot forward. Place your hands right at your hips. Come to a kneeling position. In the kneeling position, step your right foot forward. Place your right foot on that towel or the washcloth that you have. Draw the right foot forward and pull it back. This work to get some length in the back side of the thigh and pulling it in. Nice contraction, nice engagement there. Draw it out, pull it in, and again, draw it out and pull it in. Same thing on the opposite leg. So take your left leg forward, slide the washcloth forward, pull it back. Do these repetitions with great awareness, with great engagement. You feel the backside of the leg. So rather than working to always stretch the backside of the leg, now we're getting a little bit more engagement and tone in the backside of the leg. You can release out of the side. Let's come to the opposite side, the right leg again. I like having blocks here just to allow me to go a little bit deeper here. Blocks are not necessary, but they always help enhance this slightly. So as you draw yourself, rather than the pelvis being right over the knee, draw your pelvis slightly forward and just reach the foot forward and pull it back. I find that pulling back is especially challenging. Reach forward, pull it back, and again, reach forward and pull it back. Let's come to the opposite side. So take your left foot forward and drop into a deeper lunge. Keep your back leg strong. Slide it forward. Pull it back. Draw forward. Strong action to pull back. One more. Reach forward. Pull back. And come back to the kneeling position. From kneeling position, step back to downward facing dog as a way to just pause. And if that doesn't work for you, come to a puppy dog pose or a child's pose. But I like downward facing dog because you can start to feel the back sides of the legs so fully. You have this nice engagement. To get a little bit more engagement, lift your heels, bend your knees, lift your sit bones, keep your legs really strong and engaged before drawing from the heart to the pelvis. Draw down from the pelvis to the earth through the back sides of the legs. Walk your way to the front of the mat. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. Inhale, take your arms up and way back. Open the front side of the body. Exhale, open the back side of the body by coming to the forward fold. Inhale, let your hands just slide up your shin bones, supporting the spine as you lift up. Exhale, soften 2 more times. Inhale, lengthen as you lift up. Exhale, you soften. 1 more time. Inhale, expand fully. Exhale, soften. Place your hands alongside your ankle. Step back to downward facing dog again. Look forward right between your hands. Step your foot right between your hands. Park your back heel down so the back foot is parallel to the short edge of the mat, and lift yourself up. Come to Virabhadrasana 2. This is a pose that we repeat a lot in the practice. We'll just be letting ourselves come to a deeper form of the pose by pulling the feet in toward each other, pulsing to create a little bit more fluidity in our movements before creating this nice, solid, still pose. From there, inhale, reach your front arm up and back. Exhale, reach your top arm back to the back leg and get this nice fullness to the side body. We'll do this 2 more times. Inhale, lift up to come to this goddess warrior version of the pose. Exhale, reach toward your back leg. 1 more time. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, keep pulling in from the front foot to the back. So keep that nice engagement. And slowly release your hands down. Step back to downward facing dog. Look forward between your hands. Step your foot between the hands. Park your back heel. Lift your arms up to come to Virabhadrasana number 2 again. And you're just pulsing. You're just allowing this nice softness here. It's a stability in the back leg pulling in toward the front leg. You prepared the pelvis by sliding the foot forward and back to bring that awareness to the back side of the leg. You pulse before coming to a place of stillness. Reach your back hand toward your back leg. Lift your front arm up and over. Exhale. Reach your front arm back toward your back leg as you reach your back arm over. Inhale. Same thing. Slow, steady movement. Even though it's a repeat, each action has its own special flavor. So see if you can keep your mind and your actions very engaged. One more time. Inhale. Reach your arm up. Exhale. Reach the back arm over. Release your hands down to the mat. Come to downward facing dog again. Pause there. And step your way to the front of the mat. Place your hands to your low back and rise up. Pause. Stand tall in Tadasana. With your eyes bright, with your legs engaged through a nice spread of the toes to tone the muscles of the legs, through a nice spread of the fingers to tone the muscles of the upper arms. Inhale, take your arms up and back. Exhale, come to the earth. Step back to downward facing dog. Bend your knees again. Lift your sit bones high, keeping that strong engagement of the legs. Slowly draw from the heart to the pelvis down through the backs of the legs to the heels to get length. And slowly release your knees to the earth to come to a kneeling posture. In the kneeling posture, we'll be using our washcloth again. You might need a little padding for your knees. So if you've got a blanket, you might want to use that. Grab your washcloth. Take your right foot on the washcloth. Let your right foot just slide to the side. Pull the right foot in so you feel this engagement again, similar to what we were doing earlier. Reach out to the side, pull back in, and again, reach out to the side, pull back in. Very good. Come to the opposite side. Place your left foot on the washcloth. Keep the pelvis nicely aligned, right hip, right side of the pelvis over the knee. Extend your left leg out. Pull in. I always find that pulling in is really challenging here. To pull in with stability, nice and slow, to keep that engagement. Reach out and pull in. Come back to the opposite side. Take your right foot to the side. This time, see about going a little bit deeper. It's kind of like what we were doing in lunges, but this time we're going to the side. Just draw the right foot out, pull in. Those of you that are practicing on carpeting, just a paper plate might work a lot better than this washcloth. Reach out, pull in, and maybe you can go a little bit deeper. Just watch your actions, watch your thoughts as you keep this practice very engaged, physically and through your thoughts. Let's come to the opposite side. Take your left foot to the washcloth. Drop in. You notice immediately this engagement of the inner groins. Reach your left foot out to the side, pull it back in, and again, reach it out, pull in, go slow. Sometimes the foot wants to wobble a little bit, but see if you can keep a lot of steadiness as you pull in. Keep that engagement. Come to a standing position again in a wide stance. As you step wide on your mat, draw your toes out in this horse pose, we call it, but pull your feet in. Just like we were practicing on our knees, we're still getting the strength of the inner thighs as we pull our feet in. Now, as you keep pulling in, just do a slight actions of these pulsing actions. Keep pulling your feet in so you really feel the strong action of the backs of the thighs. Pulse. Don't take your pelvis lower than your knees, but just keep this nice awareness of the legs, toning the muscles of the legs. Now come to a place of stillness. Reach your arms forward with your elbows bent. Pass your right elbow under your left and just draw down. This honoring gesture. Inhale, lift up. Cross your left elbow under your right. Maybe you can even cross the wrist nicely. Draw down. If your hands are in prayer position, that's fine. If your hands are further apart, that's fine too. Inhale. Release your hands and pull your feet in strongly toward each other to rise up. Now let's come to lie on our back. Bend your knees as you lie on your back. Place your left ankle to the outer right knee. Draw your left foot over to the floor as you reach your left arm up and over your head. To gain that nice length that we had, hold on to your left elbow with your right hand. Pull the left elbow as you come to even more of a stretch of the side body. Reach your left knee away from you as possible. So you're really extending out with the left foot planted. You get this nice length to the left side. Inhale, lift your foot up. Release your left foot down. Take your right ankle to the outer knee. Come to the twist and park your right foot firmly on the floor if possible. Reach from your pelvis to your knee so your knee is reaching away from your heart. Take your right arm over your head. Take your left hand to your elbow. Just pull the elbow so that you get this length. Keep a nice length from the elbow all the way to the knee. Just enjoy this nice length. And slowly release yourself out of the pose. Plant your right foot down. Take your feet as wide apart as your mat is. Just draw your knees over to the left side first. Lift your knees up. Take your knees to the right side. Very slow actions. Come back to the center position with your feet now hip distance apart. Plant your elbows with your palms facing each other. Inhale, lift your pelvis high. Come to a bridge pose where your legs are engaged, where you're pulling in from your heels toward your heart. All the actions that we did to strengthen the hamstrings, use that action to create even more fullness in your pose. Allow the in-breath and the out-breath to be so full and bright as you press your head back, as you open the chest even more. Slowly release your pelvis down to the mat. Release your arms, extend your legs. Come to Shavasana. Soften your facial muscles. Receive the in-breath and the out-breath very fully. Yoga is a practice where every action counts. Even in the stillness of Shavasana, you're taking your attention to the breath. You're bringing your awareness to the fullness of the in-breath, the length of the out-breath. Sometimes your thoughts drift from that focus. But as you observe that, just bring your awareness back to the action of the breath. Please feel free to stay in Shavasana, this pose where we assimilate the actions of the practice. This pose of rejuvenation, of restoration. Thank you for joining me in the practice. Namaste.